back again. Alright, so you remember, if you watched my bobbin video, or you will probably already know about this. If not, well, here you are. You can also tell what I'm going to be talking about from the title of the video. We'll be talking about Breach Surge and Lavos. Now, Breach Surge is coded as a weapon, so just like in my bobbin video, it is a pseudo-weapon, is what I call abilities coded as weapons, similar to how we used to have these things called pseudo-exalteds, which were exalteds, but they weren't actually exalteds, so you couldn't mod them. Well, pseudo-exalteds are now moddable, so I don't call them pseudo-exalteds anymore, if that makes any sense. Because, for example, of a pseudo-exalted, you got Korra's Whipclaw, Atlas's Landslide, Ash's Bladestorm. Those were pseudo-exalteds. Technically, Excalibur's 1/dash is coded as a pseudo-exalted, but when Tekra Encore gave pseudo-exalteds the ability to be modded just like regular exalteds, it still cannot be modded. So even though it is technically a pseudo-exalted, I still count it as one. Because, again, it's not moddable, so it's not an exalted anymore. It's not an exalted now, it's a pseudo-exalted. Well, either way. So, Breach Surge, we all know it. It's the ability that does some funny things with numbers. You hit an enemy and then it releases the headshot spark and goes to another enemy and redirects that same damage, right? Well, Breach Surge, since it's coded as a weapon, it can benefit from balance formation. And since it can benefit from balance formation, what you can do is you can do some funny combos where you end up with priming Breach Surge sparks. So Breach Surge, we all know, is really strong with gas. So what you do? Inherent gas into your Breach Surge sparks, and what will happen is as enemies die from Breach Surge sparks, they'll create gas clouds. These gas clouds will linger and do damage over time, which will then cause Breach Surge sparks to spark out and hit more enemies, which will then cause more gas clouds, and then the chain reaction continues. Or, if you're doing Corpus, obviously what you can do is just have an army, a shit ton of Toxin Surge sparks. Like if I do this quickly. Now I have Toxin being in here. What I could do is I could just hit this enemy. And then, yeah, Breach Surge will go around and it'll hit the enemy for its shields and do Toxin. Because it's coded as a weapon. So it can benefit from Toxin and all that. But yeah. Breach Surge is really good with lavos. Because, again, you end up just causing a chain reaction. Because not only does it cause headshot multis, and gas is one of the few things in the game that can headshot, but it's then going to take the damage it does, it's going to send that spark to another enemy, and then what's going to happen is that enemy's going to die, and then that enemy's going to create a gas cloud. That gas cloud is then going to linger, and anything that's dumb enough to get in the radius of that gas cloud is then going to receive that damage and take it again. And just to prove to you, if I'm not joking, that a gas cloud will linger for some time and take the damage you do and apply it to an enemy that comes in contact with it again, we'll take out the funny weapon with gas, the Arcatitron, also known as the one-hit wonder. The Arcatitron with melee afflictions is one of the strongest goddamn hammers in the game, other than, obviously, the Sampo-Ds. Now this stupid as fuck weapon, I'll show you an example of what happens with gas procs. Okay? So you see how I have that horde of enemies there, right? Watch this. So now I have those gas procs just lingering. What I can do is do this. And they will die instantly. Because what happens is gas, not only does it kill the enemy, but it then retains the damage you do in a gas cloud that lingers over time. Now, what then will happen is it will then kill the enemy instantly if the damage is high enough. Another fun thing about gas is when you kill an enemy affected by gas damage, what will happen is they will die and then they'll create their own gas cloud, which will then store whatever damage that the gas cloud absorbed. So you end up with some pretty damn strong interactions. Gas is also really good at killing Babu. It is really strong for dealing with Babu, because that's what Babu are weak to. Because they're tech rots, so they do not like the gas procs at all. So if you want a really good damage type for Babu, there you go. Just use gas. But just for example again of how strong gas is, like, just show you it's not dedicants. Just a dedicant thing. There you go. They're all dead. Spawn them again. They instantly die. Because gas, what it did is it took the damage I did and I applied it into the lingering gas clouds afterwards, and then all those enemies are going to walk into that and then they're going to die instantly. And since gas is one of the few elements in the game but scales off of a headshot multi, that is why it's really good with stuff like Cyto 9. Gas is also really good with Banshee Sonar because it's synergies with Sonar's effects. Gas. Electric is also another ability that can headshot multi. Gas also is really good with lingering. So if you're doing a build that involves lingering damage, what I suggest is if you're doing a build that involves gas, what I suggest is bringing a grouping tool, because it will do more damage to enemies that are grouped than enemies that are not grouped. That is its strength. It is really good against grouped targets. So if you want a really powerful damage tool with gas, then yeah, use it with grouping tools. It's also why Gas Mag is so good, because Gas Mag takes advantage of that mechanic. It takes advantage of the fact that you can just end up nuking shit. But if you ever wonder why the fuck is making so damn hard with gas, well now you know. It's because gas and Meg do stupid things due to enemy density. And also because of Meg's damage multiplier and her bubble. So you end up doing some dumb damage. And some good weapons to use with her and gas would probably be either the Fury because it has multi-CO, or the Tenant Archoplasma, or the Basosys, which is just a Tenant Archoplasma on crack. Okay. So just use those. But, yeah, Breach Surge with Lavos is really, really fucking dumb because of the fact that it can Herrick gas. But, Breach Surge, since it's also coded as a weapon, can do some funny things with Frost because, again, it's coded as a weapon, so it benefits from universal weapon buffs. So you can end up with something where you have a weapon that has abysmal crit chance, like, I'll take, for example, the Sporefrix. Arguably one of the worst crit chance in the game. It only has 5% crit. And you can end up making this thing red crit. Because it benefits from Biting Frost augment. So what happens with Breach Surge and Biting Frost augment is you end up with things like this. You end up with guaranteed red crit and AoE damage. And of course, all the other funny multis that Research does. Research also, since it's coded as a weapon, obviously it benefits from the legendary universal bonus that Limbo provides. So there's that. It will be really strong with Haven because of that. It will be good with Zephyr's Tornadoes, of course. Basically, anything where it can be good. But Balance Formation in general is just a stupid strong ability because it opens a lot of possibilities. I'll leave the Balance Formation video in the description about how dumb it can be, because there's a video that mentions its mechanics. But yeah, this augment is really, really strong, especially under the right conditions of synergies. Like Exotic Blast, it's really good. Especially when you build up your Arcane. Like when you build up your damage, it just, yeah. It gets pretty dumb. Can also obviously do the other combo with Blast, where you make any melee weapon in the game guarantee electric or guarantee gas, and then you can do some dumb things with melee afflictions. You can make any weapon in the game guarantee any of the combined elements or regular elementals, which is nice. You cannot make it do physicals though. And Sickening Pulse also is very good with gas, because again, gas just scales a shit ton. So like if I quickly pull out gas plus Sickening Pulse Lavos, and I'll show you how dumb that is. Which I've already done a video on Sickening Pulse Gas Lavos. Which has been something I've been abusing for a very, very long time, because just how much damage you can dish out with Lavos. So hit them with gas, and then I hit Sickening Pulse and then watch. They'll all just pop up. And just to show it's not a Babu thing, I'll do it to the Dedicans too, because the Dedicans, see, are resistant to gas and vulnerable to corrosive. So you would think, hey, they're resistant to gas. They wouldn't take that much damage. Yeah, that's not the case. Even though they're resistant to the damage type, they will still get fucked over by the status and its mechanics. It's the same thing with the Murmur. Here's a common mistake that people make about the Murmur. A common mistake being that since the Murmur are resistant to viral, they don't get viral primed and take the 325% damage bonus from viral. They do. They will take the 325% damage bonus from viral. What they won't do is take a lot of damage from the damage type. But that doesn't matter, because we don't give a shit about the damage type. What is important to us is the status effect, not the damage type. Enemies are resistant to the damage type, not the status effect. So, always keep that in mind. But yeah, remember I got off topic. Yeah, Breach Surge with Lavos is pretty damn strong, because you end up causing chain reactions with damage. You just cause chain reaction surge sparks everywhere, which is funny, especially on weapons that normally wouldn't do that much damage. Like if I bring out example two weapons that wouldn't really do too much damage, they'll still end up doing a lot of damage because of how Breach Surge works. And also just how gas works. And this is why I suggest people start using lavos a lot more. Like, this is the Amperex. This isn't a weapon that people will be using a lot. And it's still going to end up doing a lot of damage to these guys because, again, gas proc plus Breach Surge just do a stupid ton of damage. Oh, I'm using the Zima. This is a weapon that nobody would be using. Again, I always use the Zima in a lot of my newer videos just to get a point across because nobody uses Zima. Nobody likes the Zima. So it's a great example of just how strong some builds are when you make even a weapon that nobody would ever use work. Like, yeah. So, definitely give Breach Surge Lavos a try. It is a really good combo. Another one you could obviously do with Breach Surge is Breach Surge Side 09. If you wanted to. Like, it's kind of funny with its sniper, but I find myself abusing it more with regular weaponry. Of course, it's really good with Meg, but Meg already has a build where she can nuke hordes without using a single goddamn weapon. Because just how strong her bubble is. Because Meg scales her bubble off of your weapons, and also scales her bubble off of enemy density. So a really good build for Meg is using Spellbind Meg, because she can just end up nuking hordes of enemies for bubble, which you'll see when this bubble ends, which is about 2. Yeah. Right there. It will just end up nuking them. Because it scales off of density. So Breach Surge Meg is funny, but there's better options. Another really good synergy of Breach Surge is Lavos. I know, Grendel. Grendel is really dumb with Breach Surge. Keep thinking Lavos because Lavos is so dumb with it. But another one is Grendel. Because gas procs synergy so well with it. Another one would be Garuda, because Garuda would make the Surge Sparks do guaranteed slash procs. So another good combo would be Garuda plus it. Like if I do this, and then I just hit them like that, you'll start to notice that everything's taking slash procs because of Breach Surge. So there's that. This video is starting to become more of a Breach Surge video, but it's starting to become more of a video about Breach Surge than it is a video about fucking balance formation at this fucking point. But yeah, point stands, Breach Surge is just really fucking dumb, and it's really fucking dumb with Lavos because of balance formation. So yeah, give balance formation a try, especially with Breach Surge and Lavos. Okay. And probably do another video on another synergy very, very soon after this video. I don't know. We'll see what I think of. But yeah, there you go.